is the area's leading 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
You're finding Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, and good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today is Mr. Jim Peck. He is the, principal of Clinton Junior High School. Good morning, Mr. Peck.
Good morning, Seth. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for making time for us. And I see you're wearing your Penn State shirt this morning. A big game for them this weekend.
I am. I get a lot of dirty looks here in Illinois, but I've been a fan since I was a little kid, and so it's fun when they're in town and get to do something a little bit different on the weekend. And
you going to Champaign tomorrow?
We are. Yeah, my wife and I are going, and best friend from high school who lives in Indianapolis, the big Illini fan's going to come meet us.
All right,
for the game. So,
fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Have fun with that.
Thanks.
I think you're going to have a good afternoon. Illinois, not off to a great start this year.
Well, the weather looks great,
and the weather looks great. Yes.
And I'm hoping for a Penn State win, but I know everybody around here would be fine with the other result, so I can't say that too loudly.
No, sir.
I just keep my head down.
Yeah, indeed. Very good. Well, Mr. Peck, let's dive into start of the school year for your kids and your staff. How are things going?
Honestly, Seth, it's been a really, really good start for us. You know, I came in August and talked a little bit about all that preparation, and I just feel like that has really paid off. Kids seem to be really buying into what we're setting in terms of our expectations, and you know, examples of the work ethic that we're seeing and the attitudes we're seeing, and you know, when a new group of sixth graders comes in, you never know what to expect. You know, and when we've talked a lot about the time off and the learning gaps and those things. And sometimes we know that hits maturity levels and those things, but you know, the sixth graders coming in, they're just so nice, you know, every day saying hi to almost every single one of them, saying hi in the hallway and wanting to please and do what we need them to do. So just been an awesome start.
Sure. So what kind of things do you have going on? What are the kids up to right now?
So right now, things start off fast and they keep moving fast. I think in the fall, we've already completed baseball and softball and cross country is winding down. Girls basketball's already had their first game, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is
we're doing indoor sports already. So from the athletic side, that's been going on. But for you know, highlighting our clubs, I think it's really important to also recognize what we have there for kids that maybe don't do sports or they do both. So we've jumped in with student council, Maroon Buddies, Leaders Club, our junior FFA, chess club, yearbook, Youth Alive, and Skills USA are all of our clubs that we offer. All have had their initial meetings and are getting membership numbers going. So just a lot happening all the time, depending on what you're into.
Now, how do you make kids aware of what these opportunities are, and you know, what would fit for them, for some of those kids?
So we really try to hit that early. Our back to school cookout night, each club had a table with information, so anybody could come in and talk with them. And I think that helps a lot with getting people interested in numbers. And then, you know, we run our morning announcements every day for our kids in first hour. And the leaders of our clubs do a great job of, hey, here's our informational meeting. Here's what you need to be signed up. Most of them have some sort of social media account, whether that's Instagram or on Facebook, to highlight that for parents who aren't in the building to hear those announcements. And so we really just try to push that it's a great way to be involved. When we talk to our sixth graders on their first day, we have one session, you know, 15 or 20 minutes where teachers are just highlighting how important it is to find something.
Sure.
Find that thing that you're interested in. And, you know, I think we've got a group of sixth graders that have come in, and that's our biggest number for student council is we've got like 12 sixth graders that are ready to go and rolled right into it. And so that's it's really good to see.
Sure. What's Maroon Buddies? You talked about that program.
Sure. So Maroon Buddies really focuses on inclusion and looking at areas where we can include any and all of our students, and maybe connecting some of our kids who might feel left out, might have some special needs that aren't always included. Maybe they can't participate in sports for some reason, or they don't have that place, and then matching them up with a student in the building who can help kind of get them involved. We have bi-weekly meetings for that group. It really stems from the Best Buddies national program, and then there are local chapters, and then you kind of can have some fun with naming it. So we're the Maroon Buddies. So it was a startup that we brought to the school board last year as something we were interested in, and then that has moved on to this year really kind of being our full-time club. Numbers just kind of starting, and kids are asking all the time, what is this? How do we get involved? So it's been good to see. We've got some staff that are really focused in on how do we make sure that everybody feels included.
Yeah. So what does that look like? How do you do that?
So obviously with your bi-weekly meetings, having your club leaders meeting to think about what are some important events or things that we could do. One that's really easy to do is kind of matching up students who might be in a special needs program to come to like an athletic event. We got a basketball game coming up, and maybe they don't understand, or their families don't understand how to be involved and come and support your school. So matching them up with somebody who might be a leader in the club to kind of be their buddy for the night, come to the basketball game, those types of things. There are, like I said, it's a national organization, so they have like a buddies walk was part of what they did last year as the program was kicking off up at the Corn Belter Stadium, and that's really just to kind of get the word out about the program, but it's really just finding those opportunities to include in the things we do in the building.
For sure. And it's interesting, as you were talking there about some of the programs that you have available to your students. We were talking off the air about the unique offerings and the opportunities that your students have that not a lot of junior high students have, like the FFA, Skills USA. I'm sure Maroon Buddies is perhaps a somewhat of a mirrored program in some areas, but just talk a little bit about the unique offerings that your school has.
So I say this a lot when we have new families that might tour the building. I've taught in a junior high. Went to junior high, obviously, and having the electives that we have with art and our shop and our family consumer science is awesome, because not a lot of places have that. But then that rolls right into some of our clubs, like you mentioned. You asked off the air, do many junior highs have an FFA of their own? And they really don't. We are really lucky where we have the support from the high school program and a staff member, Kayla Riedel, in our building, who has experience with FFA. And has really just taken that and run with it. And we have a lot of kids that have become interested, and really it kind of acts as a feeder right into our high school program. It gives them some experience with some early experience with contests and different things that they would do in high school. So it's cool to see that. And I know you mentioned Skills USA. That is typically a high school program, but Michelle Knapp in our building has taken it for junior high, and really just gives kids the opportunity to build those leadership skills, do some things that might be out of their comfort zone, and learn the opportunities that are out there for them as they get to high school and beyond.
Well, let's spend a few minutes and talk about those two programs kind of individually. Again, our guest in studio this morning is Mr. Jim Peck. He is the principal of Clinton Junior High School. Starting with the junior high FFA, what does that program look like? Like, what kind of opportunities are there for a junior higher in FFA?
I think you could say it really matches up a lot with the high school program, just scaled down a little bit. You're not going to have as many, I think, of the contest opportunities, but like right now they're working really hard on horse judging and some different things. So a lot of the things that you would see in the high school program, you're going to see in the junior high. As the junior high program, we kind of run if the high school is getting ready to do something like for homecoming week or later on FFA week. They're obviously making the decisions for the high school chapter, and then we're supporting. If it's a fundraiser or things like that, we're kind of coming alongside the high school program. It's one of those things where you have to balance it, because it is a high school led program in a lot of places, and we're just starting as junior high. We also have to remember, for our junior high kids, they're not driving themselves. They're not. It's hard for transportation, so we do have to kind of cut back on how much we do. But we've got a lot of kids that stay after school. They have chapter meetings, just like the high school does, and so it's just that initial kind of first step of this is what FFA is all about.
Yeah, definitely. Now let's dive into Skills USA
Sure.
because some of the aspects of that program I never would have guessed. I guess I shouldn't say never would have guessed because I feel like it's in the name Skills
Yeah.
USA. But there's a lot of like public speaking. There's a
Mhm.
lot of leadership. What is that
Yeah.
program all about? What's it look like?
So I didn't really know a whole lot about Skills USA until Mrs. Knapp came to me last year and said, "Hey, I would like to do this." And her husband leads the Skills USA chapter at the high school. She'd had experience at another district as well, and I got to go to the Illinois conference with them last year and with the junior high students. And really, I would basically kind of categorize it as it's this opportunity for students to start learning and doing things that push them a little bit outside of their comfort zone. You mentioned public speaking was part of it. A lot of STEM type activities and opportunities. We had a group that was their goal was to create a vehicle that would be powered by a balloon, and they had to get it a certain amount of feet, and they only had a certain amount of time in the day to do it. And they had to, so they had to practice, make changes, make changes, and then you had one chance in front of a judge. And so it's stuff like that where these STEM based challenges, using your head and teamwork and trying to put something together. It's skills that they're going to need as they get into the workforce.
And see, that's what I thought it would be was
absolutely.
like workforce skills, like whether it's welding or like those technical skills, if you will.
I think as you get to the high school chapter, there is so much more. There was woodworking, there was heavy machinery and motors. There, I was blown away with how many things were at that conference and just how big. I mean, it was t-shirt design was part of it, and groups that were creating clothes and cosmetics. And I mean, it kept going. It was like really anything that you may need to be skilled for, there's something for you there in Skills USA. So I think Mrs. Knapp is really looking to boost that in the junior high and get kids to see that sometimes that 4-year college track isn't always the answer. You can get involved in something right away, and then that might push you down that road to what you may do as you exit high school.
And that's the thing, that's I like to take this conversation to the next step. What does it mean for students from whether it's an emotional a social perspective? And these are things that kids are, you and I had this conversation off air. Kids today have this I guess stigma around them where they only want to be in their phone. They only want to play video games. They don't know how to talk to people. But it's programs like this that pushes them just a little bit, and that gives them an experience that says this isn't so bad, and it kind of trains them for that next level.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think I said off air, sometimes maybe as adults we hesitate to push because we think, well, our kids right now just can't handle it. But I think in reality, that little push then might show a kid this isn't that bad, right? And I can do this. I'll just speak to some of our Skills USA leaders who have had their first couple of meetings already, and they're coming up with so many different ideas of things they want to do this year, whether it's fundraising, projects and programs or things that they want to be able to go do, contests, and they bring them to Mrs. Knapp, and she's really good about saying, hey, okay, how do we present this to Mr. Peck so that he can approve that we go do this? And so then the kids work on their presentation to bring to me during a lunch hour or something like that. And so it's just, it's that little push to get them to start thinking, okay, as you get older and you get into that real world scenario, how do you present this to your boss? How do you come up with this idea and run with it? So it's cool to see kids get really excited about that
for
stuff.
sure. And we've only scratched the surface of all the things going on and the opportunities at your school, but we got to take a break. Mr. Peck, where do folks go to learn more about everything happening in your school?
I would say our junior high Facebook page is a great place to see what's going on, as well as my Instagram page, Mr. Peck CJHS, then obviously the district website as well.
Very good. That again is Mr. Jim Peck. He is the principal of Clinton Junior High School, our guest in studio. We've got more with him coming up on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Friday. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. Corn starting the day slightly lower, beans lower, and wheat slightly higher. December corn 478 3/4, down 1 3/4. March corn down 1 3/4, 492 3/4. May corn 501 3/4, down a penny. November beans starting this Friday 1351, down 9 1/2. January beans down 9 1/2. 1366 1/4. March beans 1375 3/4, down 9 1/4. December wheat 596.5 up 2 3/4. March wheat up 2 3/4, 623. May wheat 639 up 2 1/4. October bean meal 397.90, that's down 250. And October bean oil 62.87, down 3 cents. Opening numbers on this Friday morning at the Chicago Board of Trade. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Looking for Chevrolet inventory? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. We have the all-new Chevrolet Trax, Blazer, and Trailblazers coming. Plus, several Chevrolet Equinoxes and Traverses are here. This month, take advantage of extra $1,000 trade-in assistance on your trade. There's always a need for quality trades here at Baum's. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
CEO Paul Scarron here from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Our trained physical therapists offer quality, compassionate care close to home. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
For the latest in Central Illinois agricultural news, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NAFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, Mr. Jim Peck is the principal of Clinton Junior High, our guest in studio this morning. Mr. Peck, talk to us about the ITI program, Unique Opportunity at Clinton Junior High. What is this?
Sure. So the ITI stands for Illinois Tutoring Initiative, and we were approached by Illinois State University, who has a grant to help students at any Illinois school that wants to take advantage of it get some extra tutoring opportunities through math and reading. When you think about tutoring options, I think parents sometimes stay away from that because of the cost. And so Illinois State, through the grant, is providing all of that cost to help schools then pay teachers or aides to be those tutors. And then kids can get free tutoring through that. And you and I have talked a couple different times about that learning gap from COVID. And this is just another way to be able to identify students that might need that extra help, and then provide them times in after school hours to do that without extra homework or things. It's really working on those skills and building them up.
So what does this look like? Is it before school, after school, in school? How about that?
So it's going to be after school, at least for now. But I do think we may get, situations where if a tutor is matched up with a specific kid and the schedule works out and parents are like, hey, can I do before school? I don't know how flexible we'll be able to be, but that may be something. It is very brand new. So kind of figuring out how that's going to work. But after school is going to be the focus, at least to start.
Gotcha.
So,
very good. So when it comes to that incentive for the teachers, is it like a pay incentive for them to stick around and be a part of this?
Yeah, so it'll be hourly based on how much tutoring they do throughout the week. They'll turn in a timesheet to the district, and then through the ISU grant that we'll be able to pay for those hours that they stay after school.
Good deal.
So,
good deal.
Yeah.
Now, are you still seeing the impacts of that learning loss, that learning gap right now?
I think so. I think as we start having some kids now that are in 6th grade, you rewind a couple of years, they were in 2nd grade, at that point. So we're still, I think, for the next couple of years, we're going to have kids who had a significant amount of time outside of the classroom. I think this group that's, 1st graders right now, 2nd graders right now, we'll see that turn back to feeling a little bit more normal if we didn't have any time missed. But I think anytime you have a full quarter, and then for some kids, the full next year, if the families decided to keep them home, you're going to see a significant gap. And we're seeing those in math and reading. And so the ITI program and opportunities like it was a no-brainer for Clinton. Mr. Nettles was like, yep, we need to look into this and do it. Sure. And it just makes sense to get more exposure to those things. Right now.
So how will students come to be in this and get that tutoring? I mean, will it be recommended by yourself or the teachers, parents? How will that work?
We're starting off with recommendations by teachers, which can be a little bit difficult at the beginning of the year because, in our building, if you're an 8th grader, you've only had your 8th grade teachers for a couple of weeks. So we do lean on a little bit of past knowledge college, talking to 8th grade teachers might talk to 7th grade teachers, 7th grade to talk to 6th grade, to get some of those recommendations. We also look at our early benchmarking scores. We do our early Ames Web testing, which then will show us students that are lower than the national and local percentiles that we need to look at. Kind of gives us our warning levels of interventions that may be needed. So that's really how we build our early numbers. And then as the program goes on, we may have other students that we want to recommend just based on things we learn as the year goes on.
Sure.
So,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very good. Well, anything else on that program, Mr. Peck?
No, we're other than we're recommending students right now, and we'll give that list to ISU here really quickly, and then October, I think that first week of October is the hope that we can begin those tutoring sessions.
Gotcha.
Once they get everything set up for us.
Sure.
So.
Very good. Again, Mr. Jim Peck is the principal of Clinton Junior High School, our guest in studio this morning. I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball at you. Apple and Pork's coming up.
Sure.
Do your kids get involved at all?
So some do, depending on the programs you're in. Dance for sure has already asked about the white tent that we have in storage to get that out and get ready to go. I know junior FFA for sure is going to be involved. Those are the two that are jumping out on top of my head. I'm just looking forward to going down and getting a pulled pork sandwich. So, but yeah, it's a huge weekend, as everybody knows around here, for the community and the amount of people that it brings in. So anytime that we can get our activities involved, I think it's great for the school and those opportunities. I know Mr. Keppel, it probably has a love-hate relationship with the weekend, but we, with the
everybody does,
and
I
different
think.
things that go on at the high school too.
Yeah.
It's a huge weekend for the school. So we try to be as involved as we can.
Well, and that's, again, part of the opportunity the junior high has and gives to students is, giving back to your community.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that, I think the high school has like a 40-hour requirement or something for their kids, but it doesn't have to be that 40 hours. It can be, hey, this is Apple and Pork weekend. This is, some of the ways when you get to high school, you'll be involved in it. And, this is what it looks like to give back to your community.
Sure. Yeah, I think so. I think with anything that we have our students doing, whether it's clubs or even sports like, our dance team, getting more exposure outside of just what we normally do with our club or on the athletic field is important. In a small town, everybody knows that, everything kind of revolves around the school, and when the kids can see that and then have pride in it, we use the phrase maroon pride a ton in our building. And so I think that just events like these build off of that and keep that going.
Very good. Well, Mr. Peck, we're coming up on having to let you go. Unfortunately, how do folks learn about all things Clinton Junior High School?
Sure. They can check us out on our Facebook page, CJHS Maroons, and then they can also look at my Instagram page, Mr. Peck CJHS, or go to our district website.
Very good. Well, Mr. Peck, thank you for making time for us.
Thanks, Seth.
Always good to
Appreciate
have you in. Yeah, definitely. That is, again, Mr. Jim Peck, principal of Clinton Junior High School, our guest in studio for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Network news on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.